All right, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Gregory Hitchin with the Stigmish Billiards. Getting started here with our first ever situation over at the Northern with John Kim. We have John Kim playing, I believe it's Francis So, if I'm saying that correctly. And they're going to be starting with a race to 7 and 10 ball, and going then a race to 3 of 1 pocket thereafter. So, some fun action just to get the stream started here today. So Francis just making a ball movement here to try to just maintain a little bit of table control. Starting off this 10 ball race to 7. Waiting for John Kim to get to the table. We're at John Kim at the table here. It's not. He's got some room to make a bank shot here. You might see him go for this bank. He does not. He's going to deliver a re-safety here. Tidy it up really nicely. Puts a really solid tight angle there. I don't think there's enough room to get by the 9 or whether it should be maybe the 2 ball, it could be the 4 ball by the 1. Let's continue to watch this as it progresses. So a little bit of housekeeping here for my social medias here, so continue to watch as this progresses between the two players. Looks like Francis is going for a jump shot. Gives the table back to John Kim here. John Kim here really looking to pot the 1 ball. Gotta get through some traffic to shape for the 2. It's quite outside the angle there to not pot the ball in or shape the 2 ball. I'm sure you'll think of that just a little bit. We get back to the table with a clear hand. So Francis at the table, looking at the thin angle here that you could deal with or go right to a bank shot. Takes the bank shot work, kind of puts a little bit of steam on it, and just really develop getting the ball to the pocket. Leaves John a little bit more of a manageable possibility to get shape here. It's been the struggle of this rack as it's developed early on, just the struggles to get the shot and or then get the shape, and here we are once more. John going to take his time, put a little work into it. Does he get enough off of it? He does not. Runs into it. What I believe is the 7. Maybe certainly left enough ball to hit. Maybe a combo. I'd like to see how he gets shape after this shot here. This is a little bit of a deal breaker, but yeah, it's just going to go right to a safety then. I do think Francis might still have a window on the bank shot, or maybe see something different than that, so to say. But it looks like maybe enough angle from the bank. Yeah, should have called that a kick as well. That was not a bank. That was a kick at him. Did not make impact though. Gives John Kim now ball in hand. John Kim's table looking a little bit better now. Does have just like a hair bit of a situation here, but it's not something you're super concerned with, just something that should be in your spec and getting there. John doing really well here to keep his body in position and just lock in pre-shot. Nice ability to touch the ball and finish it nice and tidy. There was that angle that I pointed out before the previous shot, and that's he got himself nicely inside that angle, but now you're gonna have to see a little bit of his just execution and thought process of where he's going to shape next. If he goes for the ball, his body says maybe he's going to try and safety. He might have bumped the 8. One little bump, we're okay with it. So he does hits it all the way full, still stuns it across the table. Really focusing on the line he wants to use here to transition between 2/3 of this rack. Nice no movement on the body language, but yeah, it doesn't quite like what he gets out of it. Just gonna go for the back cut bank shot. His body says he's gonna make it. He's got to finish well. He does get there. So I really like the angle that he got into going into that bank shot, so it did seem pretty guaranteed that it was likely to pot the ball. We're just gonna send this down table, maybe a little stunned so it gets lower to the 7. Yeah, it's no real argument there. He's gonna hit the ball a little bit better now to get to the shape to the 8. If he was slightly thinner on the angle, he would be able to just hit it, but he's gonna hit it a little bit better now. All right, he shot it right at good enough. So like he could have got that a little bit better, but maybe this is perfect for him. See if he wants to go downhill, come across table. His tip shape looks like he's going to come across table. But he's trying to put the 9 in the same pocket as the 8 ball. Let's see what his speed says when he hits the ball. Yeah, I don't think he had intent to run into the 9 there, though. I think he just wanted to sneak by it and let that natural little drift out angle allow for success. But hit this. It looks like he might be looking at hitting this on the inside edge of the ball a little big. That would chip the tin nicely if you hit it. If you hit it strong, a lot of confidence, not too much power. He's gonna go touch and go. All right. Cue ball won't correct from that. You get straighter back down the table, but you also can miss the ball if you do that much to it. So just got one little touchy shot on a back cut here. Put himself up for the first rack. Really like the way he finished that well, stayed in it. That was good enough. I wasn't in here when they started this, so I don't know if there was a lag or if it's winter break or alternate break. All I can tell you right now, it's a race to 7-10 ball. John Kim just went up one rack. And this is the freshly brand new installed as of this morning second location for Distinguished Billiards. Another place to do dibs, let's go matches. It's where the action can happen. And everything else in between, John Kim's up for and is available in the Lake Stevens area. The North End with John Kim. You can add snooker in the comments. Let's go, Francis, with the break. One ball gets down the table, does not drop in. Do not see if a ball dropped on the break, but I don't think one did. That does leave John Kim kind of sitting in the backdraft there with a one ball way of a table for a jump shot situation or a random wild kick, but I think this might be a place where you see a push happen. That first shot after the break being an opportunity in the rotation ball game of 10 ball. And that is what John Kim decides to do is push. It's not a bad push. Puts Francis in a place to bank the ball. Not probably cut the ball, but potentially resafety the ball. And Francis going for the bank. Gets so close, but doesn't quite get there. But John Kim probably considering a jump shot for the one. I have seen him on the previous Distinguished Billiard streams, and his jump shot game doesn't seem to lack in consistency. So hope to see something correct here from him. Nice body English movement, but oof, a little too much everything on the ball, and it leaves the table. All right, so Francis potentially has a decent table here. Couple balls where the transition wants to move around some, but other than that, it still seems manageably possible here to get out. I know John Kim's like about a 580 Fargo player, I think. I'm curious as to what Francis Fargo is because they come in with no weight. Yeah, at snooker, yeah, there was definitely a flight plan, flight, sorry, flight plan file on that. A little bit of allergies with the smoke in the air around here. All right, so John Kim at the table there, still trying to see how close these players are in Fargo. Oh, they are about spot on here. So Francis is a 580. I think John Kim's just a couple points over that. Oh, John Kim's a 579. So yeah, they are playing correctly straight up. About as close as you can get here. Just maybe a couple of roll control situations or something of that nature kind of playing into effect. All right, so nice center pocket ball potting there from Francis. Has some table work to do here now. I think it's at the angle that you call it the thin it to win it angle, where you just really have to make the ball with a thin angle, but just control the cue ball with a lot of you know what to do. And I think that was the case there. I think that was done well. Two 580 players matched up. You got to be real careful when you're at the table and make sure you maintain your best game because the faltering percentage versus the potability of the players and the way they can execute can become so electric so quickly that you got to make sure you stay in it every inch of the way. Likely going for the combo there. Now leaving John Kim with some things to look at. Can the ball go between the 8 and the 9? I think it can in all reality because the one best way to do this is draw the line to the pocket, and I think it misses there. It's pretty obvious illness on the other side, so we'll see what John gets out of here, what he does with it. Like the carry spinning going into the 6 ball. Lot of carry into the 6 ball. It should be. Oof. Going to go big out there. Okay, maybe the 7 doesn't look well between those 2 balls. That was the risk we were willing to take on that shot. And it did pay off well. He really just has to pot this ball to get shape on the 8. And after that, it's just everyday work, I would hope, for John Kim. Here we go. Right in there. Now, he could stun this backwards off the 8 ball to shape the 9 or go forward. I might like to see him go forward with this and not get all punchy. Oh, he might be just going to stop shot this the other way. He's looking at the camera going, trying to figure this out. I know you're trying to figure this out. Maybe it's that's so funny. Let's look at the camera, John. Oh yeah, he's going to cut that deep inside from the outside edge and stop shot for the 9. I know he's going to. Okay, that's dull over what I expected him to do, but maybe that's the right shot and I just didn't know it. Yeah, so he went from the all the way to the outside edge, punched it deep with draw, recorrected the ball, and just spun it backwards. To get a really nice angle on the 9, would have to shoot it long so you see the extension come out there on the 9-foot table here. We're expecting to go up table and shoot the 10 ball in the top left pocket from where his body is at the moment. He does get there just in time with just enough speed that you have to slow down your cadence when you're talking about it. Yeah, that was close, but he got there. Yeah, John Kim showing good technique there, nice body placement. Very nice job of hitting that with a really nice pendulum stroke, not moving the shoulder into a J stroke, which is kind of common that a lot of players do on that shot. If you do it well, who cares? But you add another thing that's moving to the outcome of the shot, and sometimes it's not the best option. Maybe right now they're talking about a couple things from that last rack as they move into the next rack here. Looks like they have the template rack going here for this 10 ball situation. John Kim is up two. He just hasn't figured out yet. The tablet needs to be touched, and maybe he'll get that as he walks around to his break. Of course, this is the very first day of the stream here with the North End with John Kim coming through, just getting all the checks and balances done and get the stream started. The lighting, you got a little progression to do here. I got Level Up Billiards out of Ferndale, Washington with Jason Deacock and Eric Dees. Nice coming in with building a custom light for this table to promote the stream. Looking forward to that showing up and continuing to promote all the great things they're doing. I hear they're very busy with their excellence and hope to see that continue. John Kim's break. Kind of short dropping the ball in the side pocket. Leaves a manageable look at the one, but some potential shot situations coming up here to get shaped. A lot of different ways of player can feel how they're going to get to this next shot. They all take confidence. Knowing what your next step is coming into the shot, continuing to grow it. Francis chose the safety option here, it appears to be. Might have leaked out enough angle for the one to go. I think it is. It's just a matter of John Kim's willing to hit this shot a little big or just a little risky. It might not have to be big, like you hit it harder or anything like that. It's just the amount of ball control versus manipulation to really kind of get there for the two. So two, yeah, is just a little more work. Takes a little more design. We're gonna do it with a bank shot, he says. Makes sense. There's room. With two racks, he did mark it up for us there. It's a safe enough shot to go for. Doesn't get there. Where's the one ball go? Oof. Kind of goes where Frances has to start working with her process for a safety attempt, a safety situation, I believe. Taking the time to get the speed control right, because that's what these safety shots come down to is correct speed control. Ball separation doesn't have to be tied up. Could, should, or would have been tied up, but however, still possible impact here for John Kim. I think had Francis, maybe let's probably like go had they gotten tied up right here on the back of this ball, the percentage of John hitting that ball becomes extremely low. Here it's still a little bit higher because there's still room to make angles or make apparently jump shots, which is what he's going for here. Hopefully this one does not require a flight plan and he can simply glide it to where it needs to be. Comes into impact with the one, comes off a couple rails, but does shape up for Francis. See if Francis can start to find a little bit of gear now, getting this sort of opportunity given in her direction. Not a lot of angle for the shot, but enough to get by with, or enough to just make it work. I think Francis is trying to find a little better feel for the line coming to the shot. Yeah, it does. It's just it's tougher than what it looks with that shot. I think sometimes with that one, it's better to maybe just stay on the side of know how to make the ball, and then just take the, the best shape you can, making the shot with trust in yourself. Or at least John give a jump shot, which does impact. It's a rail. Comes back to give Francis a look here. See the execution. Ooh, not going for any shot, going for the safety. Maybe there wasn't enough room, or the angle just didn't really go well after making about four balls. So John looking at kicking here at the two ball, calling it to the corner pocket. Makes sense because it could go four rails to the side pocket, three rails to the side pocket. Like that, that was another option that could have happened. All right, does Francis play the two ball off the nine to the corner? We will see as she finds what she wants to do with the shot. No, decided to go for another safety and another really, really well executed safety. I mean, there is angles for John Kim to make ball impact, but the ball separation is complete and the misalignment between them is pretty solid. If you want to see, players do consistent, well done safeties, so far Francis has shown us that. John Kim taking a foul to make the table bad. Yeah, so he pushes what could be the five ball, the six ball. I don't know these balls as well at the moment yet. This is the first time I'm really calling them on the stream here, but no, it's three ball. So yeah, that's the three ball, I believe. Either way, pushes it bad, gives away ball in hand, intentionally to see if Francis can't quite get there, but Francis not going to really accept that fate and produce another safety to come back and say, I'm going to bully you around this table, sir. Very well done. So it does appear John has a tough angle, but he's willing to stay with trying to get there to the impact, make the legal hit. Doesn't get there. Could be he's on two, if I'm recalling my math well, but it could still just be one. Alright, so I don't think Francis is looking to go for any balls here now. And the more I watch, the more I see that the player is definitely trying to maintain table control and just be patient. Does it again. Potentially really showing some player skills that are above that 580 Fargo. Some of those ball position moves, they could be tighter, but they're so close up there in that 600 bracket that you could argue they're anywhere between 600, 630, 650 on some of them. They're really good ball movements. And there it is. Yeah, that was three foul. I thought they might be right there at it. Sure enough, they were. So John Kim giving that up after not making impact. And yeah, I believe that might be correct there, where Francis did deliver some very high level safeties. They weren't so tight that an 800's not making them, but definitely a struggle bus for anyone in the 500. So some really good safeties there. And John Kim has some artistry with his shots. I feel like in the way that he addressed trying to make sure he wasn't free fouled was strong. But Francis just really delivered safeties at that level, and we applaud that. So well earned three foul. Three foul the any player that plays all the time in itself is challenging. And doing it here today was certainly a very skilled event. However, the break there just didn't quite land, and a scratch, giving Sean Kim ball in hand, but some trouble on the table apparently though that he might have to decide to work on, because if we go over here, this over, it's a sitter shot. Apparently, there we go. So if we move over here, we see how these balls are. Those make it a little more challenging for the run out here. And as these players kind of settle down, feel their tempo for the stream, find their game as a couple racks go by, as obviously we're on rack four here. It doesn't take too long though that they start to kind of find a little bit of confidence, a little bit of stride. So looking at the player health of each player at the table when they get up can become a factor, especially when you have two basically 580s playing each other. So John Kennedy's to continue to make some intelligent shot choices if he's going to play on the hair the offensive side. He has been playing the hair offensive, it seems like, in this match. And he's a strong ball potter, so I would expect as much. Where his opponent, Frances, she's been offensive and it mattered, but she's been a very solid defense player. Really kept table control when she got the opportunity to have it. So, in the football world, we say defense wins Super Bowls, and defense might win this match. John Kennedy coming to that offensive shot. Think he had something he liked there. However, yeah, opens the table up better, and now hands a cue ball to Francis. Francis still has a situation down table a little bit right here, but potentially manageable. This is a 9-foot table, so you have a little more room to make adjustments with your shots. Ooh, kind of getting on the outside edge of the point, trying to straighten that ball up into the side pocket. And the pockets on this table are not undersized. They are undersized and they're oversized. They're fairly tight in the corners and tight enough on the side. See if there's a kick situation or if Francis is going to have to consider a jump. Might be calling the 10 ball here. Combo. I think that might have been kind of the call, but it was more about trying to maintain control of the cue ball. Might have left just enough for John Kim to pot this ball. John trying to figure out how to get down perfectly for his shot. Is the positive side of human error. Strokes that big but nicely contained. Does he get enough to like what he has? Crosses to the side. Wonder if he's going to kind of thin this inside to get shape, or he's going to go big on the outside. I think he has to choose one of the two to shape the 4 ball. And I think that's one of his things. Yeah, I think he started thinking inside, but now he's went big outside. Yeah, he went big outside. Not quite big enough though. Shorten up, I think, the stroke and didn't quite really dial in the feel to finish that shot with speed. And speed being ball movement, not actual like pressure, like hitting the ball hard. Just stroking it just a little bit better. Going for the bank shot, almost gets help, but doesn't get there. I think a little bit of body movement coming in through that bank shot might have had some play into the factor, but either way, it just is just a tough player situation to be in. But if you miss, you want to miss well. See if Francis can't figure out the kick here, because apparently she does not want to go into a bank shot at this time. Goes for the kick, doesn't get the kick. Might be a kick and stick, but I think there's nothing with a run the 4 ball to the side pocket or the corner pocket. John Kim looking at it, I think he's looking at the side pocket at the moment. You have to hit this well if he's going for anything with a little other adjustment to the angle. Not sure which one we got there, whether that was a miss or a safety. I want to say it was probably a miss because was trying to hold the ball up for the 5. Now Francis has a couple, 3 ways to get shape on the 5. Probably coming down the middle of the table though. They wanted to come down the middle of the table, did not get the adjustment right to the four and ran into the five and made the five, I believe, eight situation up the table just a little bit of a nuisance. John Kim to cut that in nicely and works his way uphill here, but oof, don't know if he got something or nothing. He's jumping right into it like he likes it. Let's see what he likes about it, though. He likes that it's a safety, apparently. I guess that makes sense. Ties that up pretty tight, too. Francis, time to see if there's room to get by the eight and spin back to the wall, and there is to the face of it. That was a really great hit, actually. That's one of those things that many people might not notice is how well that was done. That's a that's a very solid developed stroke angle to get that ball to go that direction and impact that ball that correctly. John Kim going for the bank, calls it, gets it. Now what? Sure, now once you make the next ball, but he's got to make sure he pays attention starting right now for the 8-9 transition. I'm sure he knows that because you need the right angle on the 7 to make your life comfortable for the 8 ball shot to get way downhill or way up across hill to shape the 9. Oof. And I wonder if I think he just tried to get too good. I think, or just wanted to do something just a little. That's what can happen there. I think he just hit the ball well, soft, and get the angle that's just off the rail and finish that rack. But I'm willing to talk because I'll do the same thing over and over again and not figure out why it's not going right. So it's easier to watch it, talk about it, than get out there and do it. That is unfortunate scratch for Francis. The John Kim ball in hand. Opportunity here to shoot the 6 ball to the corner pocket, come across the table with it, maybe hold it up a little. Looking at the angle between the 7 and 8 because the 9 situation is still a little real. You gotta know where you're going right now for the angle to the 9. The 9 to the 10's got natural all over it everywhere. But the 8 to the 9 right now does not have any verbiage of we can get there healthily without effort between now and then. So that's something to think about or something to progress on as you understand ball situations per rack, especially in rotation. Rotation being 9 ball, 10 ball, shooting balls anywhere. You got a little oof on the 7. That's how he's probably going to feel about it too. So you shrug that off, know what you're going to do, drop the 7, and just get good on the 8. Good enough, barely good enough, any of it on the 8 ball will keep you at this table from this angle at least. So that's at least a positive point of coming up just buried inside the edge of the ball here a little bit. Waiting to the hit. Oh, it had the ability to get a little bit of a hitch up in his stroke, though, a little bit of hesitation. I think he was trying to drive the ball, so might have came into play why it just kind of came outside of the pocket a bit. But doesn't leave Francis easy here. Let's see what safety play for Francis delivers. It does come up a bit short. It's just one of those shots that I think you start figuring out different ways as you excel in the game because it's inside the middle edge of the eight ball. He could draw this right out of the potting and just back cut the seven ball and then back cut the eight ball and get really good shape. Or you come forward and come around two rails and get really good shape. I feel like going that way with it though is dangerous, and that's what happens. That's why I was talking more being on the other side of the edge of the ball, so that way when the draw catches up, it can only miss the 10. Maybe it could run into the 2, but you're more likely to just always miss the 10. So you might end up a little wide on the 8 ball, but you end up with good transition to the 9. Versus this angle, you kind of fight the pot the ball speed control game here. I think he kind of lost that game, but he's got a good attempt here to kick at this 8 ball. He impacts it well, almost goes in. Should be a nice cleanup right here for Francis now. Let's pop 8 in the corner, a little bit of top. Let the cue ball go just to the spot that feels nice to you for natural. Yep. 10 ball could go on the side or the corner. I think the ball speed versus the shot here will determine that. Looks like she shot it with some little bit of big bottom to put it in the side pocket. And that would be the case. Well done. All right, tying this race to 7 up 2-2. And I believe now that they are doing alternate break because Francis won the last rack and now John Kim is rack. All right, so John Kim here at the table. I'm sure they're discussing something out there, but going into rack number 5. All right, so John Kim's break does produce a scratch off the break. Does leave Francis with ball in hand, likely taking the one ball to the corner pocket to shape the 2. As I'm learning, seeing the ball colors here on this table, so I believe that's probably the 3 right here. So I wonder if they're talking about it. If you don't make the 1, get the 2, shape the 3, then you can come back for the 4. Something like that. Let's see which way this happens, how this progresses. So Francis is not going to get the big ankle off the two, but can get the flag and actually make it roll up and make the shot a little more potable here. So might use the rail for shape. Does use the rail for shape. Think got a little further from the ball than desired, but maybe that's not the case whatsoever. It's the three, but oof. Pockets are not forgiving, and that might have just been just an edge of an edge that just couldn't survive meeting each other. So, but it was a good hit, so it does force John Kim to look at a kick shot here. Does not make impact. Was hair frustrated by it, but you're gonna shake that off and get ready for your next. Go with the table here. See what Francis gets for shape here. Holds out well for it. Can she get across for the five? What? Pocket. It's well done. Couple options here if you're coming to thicker or out thin shape hitting the ball. Shape the six. I think Francis is starting to find the table speed control now. Doing that shot well. This is another bit of a tricky shot. See if she wants to go around the table and come drawing through it. Shows coming around the table. I think the more you choose that, the more you have to focus on just making the ball and knowing that you're going to get to shape. I think, at least for me and other players I've talked to, that does seem to help when you choose the focus on making the ball there and trust yourself. Kind of the same thing here too, where you just have to trust yourself and make the ball to get shape, and you'll get shape every time if you do. I think the shape could have been better if you would have been a little more. I think he went a little more on the side of also trying to make the ball well, but manageable cut shot to the side pocket. Now it's just cue ball control speed for the nine to one of the corner pockets. Up table, I believe. Let's see what he does. And that was a really nice shot. He caught that belt ball, let it get out, almost kill the glance so it spins it backwards off the end rail to shape the nine up table like this. I think it could be considered excessive work, but it was shot so well. I don't know if I want to say that. That was well struck. So just pot that ball, pot the nine, and just let the 10 take its angle. It's a ball speed control problem, I think, now here where he's at. Could be a chair near your leg problem as well, but something's being discussed. Doesn't seem apparent to this match though. Sean Kim continuing to reassess. Does not make it. I think he does leave Francis on something that feels like a long field goal attempt, but manageable. I think when you get you're a football player or a soccer player, you get out there on the edge, and they should make it, but you don't always do. So you get up there and you kick it. Stay out of the pocket. Don't go in the pocket. All right. It's not the hardest shot in the world, but it's not a free shot. There's a little bit of included angle. Ball's kind of near the rail. John Kim just definitely has to make some adjustments to pop this well. Doesn't quite get the angle dialed in. Almost gives it back to the ball in hand. Misses the pocket though. All right, so Francis now it's got a bit of a back cut to put the tin ball in the side pocket, but does have a really manageable full hit to put it in the tin ball in the corner. If she feels like she can get through the edge of the rail with really high consistency, I think she may be cutting. Let's see. To the side. Nope. Felt like she could straighten the angle up. And although she did leave John Kim with something that's probably manageable for him to pop. You still don't want to discount the shot, disrespect the shot. You got to make the shot. Does it slow down though? Does it not do bad things? For effect, John Kim. For effect. That's what he says. Yeah, almost had a heart attack. All right, so John Kim gets the fifth rack here. Going up 3-2. What they're doing that. So get the sponsor, right?
Want to feel the pressure of competition in your everyday pool games against your buddies? Want to send your own matches to FARGORATE? Download Salotto now. Your race, your place. It's time to make your matches count. Salotto, the pool player's app, now featuring monthly cash and prizes.
Sort of break. Drops him on the side pocket. Does the one clean up? Not quite. Magic Rack does clear out between two balls. See what Francis feels like as she comes back to the table here. I believe this is a push coming out here after the first shot from the break. Pots maybe what she feels like is a key ball. Let's Sean Kim have the table to try and get some work done. Just a moment here. John Kim has stepped away from the table.
Introducing EvoSports, the future of live streaming. It's now easier than ever to stream and share your action. We use the best equipment for high-quality HD image. Invite a commentator from anywhere in the world. EvoSports is the evolution in billiards entertainment. Live streaming has never been easier. Simply enter your name, add your race length, and start your stream. Join us on YouTube at EvoSports Streaming or at evosports.live.
All right, back to the action here as John Kim pots the 1 ball. We evaluate the shape that he's going to have to deal with here. Looks like they haven't updated their scores on their end for this last game here. So John Kim is up 1. We're right here, 3-2. This is the first stream at this new location, though, so I'm sure that'll just take a little bit of time to adjust to. John Kim showing that he's going to cut this ball. Really nice cut action to try to get there, but doesn't quite get into it enough. Or actually got too much of it, I believe, and it gives Francis an opportunity here to get to the table. Calls the kick shot. The 5 being where it is, I don't know how much you get really out of making this. Had she have made it. Does have to score, though. All right. So now then, John Kim. Looks like he's given an opportunity for a medium level kind of thin cut. We're still back to shaping the 5. This is where you're going to see a little bit of stroke work by John Kim. Rattles it around. Makes it, though. I think he left himself a mandatory big shot, maybe? I don't know. He could cut this, maybe. So, it's a thinner angle. I think he's just going to safety here. Seeing his body position correctly. Just kick it around the table and try to put the cue ball behind the 7 ball. Yeah, it doesn't get really behind the 7 ball. Might be touching it enough, though. If it isn't touching enough, then the 5 ball probably goes in the side pocket past the 9. If that makes its way into the pocket, that should be a fairly nice rendering of an out for Francis to work for. Really well struck. Nice opportunity here to come around the table from the 8 ball on the side and shape the 9 if that's the way the player sees it. That's basically exactly what I was expecting to happen here. Because now you can just pop the 8 on the side, a little bit of draw, shape the 9, and then decide which angle you're going to take the 10 at. 10 close to the center of the table, you get 2 angles for it for free. However, take a little bit of extra focus shaping of the 9 there got in the way of making the 8 well. This would be my estimation of what happened, but it could be many factors. However, if you miss, they say miss well, and this is missing pretty well. Doesn't leave John Kim a ton of options to work outside of a safety. Ooh, I think that might be a full leak out there by John Kim. Which should be a very fortunate return for Francis after not quite getting out on the table that I think her percentages were very favorable early on. Stays down well with the stroke, just a little bit of tip spin coming through it, I think, there, and let the ball miss the pocket. John Kim kicking at the 8, runs into the 10, though. All right, so Francis now coming in with there's a third opportunity here. Table does not play free or easy. You do have to play pretty consistent on a high percentage on this table to play well. But when you do, you get the rewards. Make a nice little bit of just a bit of inside edge angle here. Let the cue ball come forward through without overhitting it. Take the 10 in the top left from where we're at here, or you can hit it bigger and come across the table. Nope, she's staying with what I was anticipating to happen. I thought still she might try to correct it and straighten it up by about another ball to the right. And maybe she did, it didn't quite get there, but either way, we have a manageable angle to make the ball. And that's well done. That's what you do there, you make the ball. So yes, one player at 579, one player at 580, race to 7, 3-3 in the middle of it. Probably what we expect to see, I think. It's John Kim direct. I'm going to take just a hair of a short commentary break, and I'll be right back in a moment. All right, we are back. The commentary booth here. Here's Francis. Didn't quite make the one ball there. Even John Kim will look at it. However, it does appear he may have the three ball in the way. See what he sees. The closer view of the table. Might be doing a bit of a masse or could be jumping. Okay, he's definitely going to a jump shot here. See if he can get shape out of the jump. Makes the jump well. But he might produce shape too. I think John Kim knowing that if he wants to win this match here, he's going to have to make these mid-rack or early rack transition shots really matter. He does this one well. I think he has everything he needs to run this rack out. It's just a matter of consistency and work. I think he's spending enough time trying to find the angle he likes. There's something to see and learn here too when you watch a player that's got a high consistency rate like John Kim does, and many players at his level, above his level, and even below. The time he's spending to make the first shot is because he has a place for the cue ball. But it's also important to understand that as human beings and as players and stuff, we're not always going to be as precise within millimeters as we want to be. So understanding those choices you're making, there is some zones close enough that you might have to understand and falter into. It's always spectacular to see a player do it well. I don't think he had thought focused on running into that ball, but that is what happened, and he still left himself a nice chance to make the three ball on the side. Or we could go. Oh, sorry, three ball in the corner, and then four ball in the opposite corner. Does have to do a little bit with the cue ball here. It's nicely done as well. Seen both these players make some very consistent ball control shots that tell you exactly why they are 580 Fargo players. John Kim going 3 wells after impact. High percentage choice to do that well in that shot, so I don't think there's any way to really say that was the wrong choice. Just gotta hit this one well. And he does. He might have hit it too good and actually got something better out of it. Oftentimes when we say we hit it too good, it misses because we just thought it was better than what it was. Sometimes you hit it too good and it's exactly just too good. You're perfect. So might have a little look at that here. If he wants to pop this in the corner and draw back on the 7 ball. Stiffens it up a hair. It does that pretty well. I don't know if he got the exact angle he wanted, but he got the angle that still works. He's just again he's gonna hit this ball just a little bit good. but the angle will produce shape. Oh, he decides to not even go for fighting through anything. Just stun draw it a bit and take the angle. Yeah, play aggressive when you know how to play aggressive in the right spot. Probably drawing this a little bigger off the rail for shape, because it doesn't get too bad. If you make it, sir. If you make it. Yeah, he doesn't like that. All right, Francis. After sitting down for a bit, watching John Kim do some pool, she now has to get up and make a decision if to go extreme forward with this and shape it or come way back behind it. I think she's going to go forward. Makes the most sense. Take the steep back edge and see what happens? I don't know about that one. She's saying that. If she was trying to save me or figure it out differently, maybe, but I don't know. Wonder if I like the hit the ball a little thick with outside right top and come two rails dying to the nine, but maybe the angle wasn't right for that. Anyway, so John Kim now just caught the one well with some top, just enough to let the cue ball stay in it. But you don't want it to slow down after any movement of impact. But you want it to maybe speed up just a little bit. You could even just speed up a little much. The most important thing is make the 8 ball here. And forget about the cue ball when you're going to make the 8 ball. You made it work right here. But just go make the 8 ball. Yeah, that's the problem. I don't know if I'm making it work. I think you're making it work. Don't try to get too good. You have so much room on the 9 ball here. I know it could die out wide, but just you've got so much room. And any established player like John Kim or Francis so could just come through the 9 and shape 500 ways for the 10 ball. So I think we're making a bigger deficit on the shot than we need to, John Kim. Just let it go forward a little bit. I do like that he's looking to find it though. It's really important to always find winning. Whether it takes you 2 seconds or 20 minutes, just not 20 minutes per shot, please. Everybody, not 20 minutes per shot, please. But as long as it takes you the correct amount of, reasonable time to do well, please take your time and make your shots. John did that well after getting through everything he deal with, and then did that to himself. And so here's the funny thing, actually. So now John had to deal with all that. I think he built himself up into a little too much. If he just would have taken the angle early, he would have just taken the angle on the 9, made shape for the 10, and got out. Is what I feel like should have happened. But now Francis, if she clears her mind well, she just has to make the 9. And it's a challenge shot now because it's not unmakeable. It's very manageable. It's very ball speed control. A skill set that she should already just naturally just feel and know. they're discussing whatever they're discussing. I'm not sure where they're going with what they're doing, but either way, it's although a lot of players are going to look at this shot and think it's harder. I think Francis actually just got given a little bit of a one go do you shot that just produces shape to the 10 and you win. Whereas John Kim was trying to just kind of undo the table in front of him a little bit, unpack it, and then created more mental, stimulation in different ways that just made it tougher. So here she just has to make this and straighten the ball up while doing it, just a little bit. You don't even have to technically. You can hit it bad as long as you don't hit it short. Don't hit too bad at scratches, but you just hit it okay and hit it well. Like what you're doing, and know you're taking the angle and trusting yourself. If you make the ball, the shape gets there. Plain and simple. And here it goes. That's. I think it just felt like there was maybe a little bit of shoulder movement by Francis there, and maybe that's why the ball spit out a little bit. But that's the dying into the you just gotta make it. It's going to get there sort of confidence. So now John Kim getting the ball back. Going to be a little bit push it, make sure it gets there. Doesn't become too in depth with trying to be try hard about it. So that's always a great thing for a pool player to not do. To set himself up to pop the tin ball. And sigh a little bit of relief there after a little bit of player difficulty there across those racks. I think could be the new stream kind of putting some pressure on them. A lot of different things going on here and there between the players. They've had their conversations, but we've got a race to 3 for John Kim and a race to 4 for Francis So. Love the player interactions that we're seeing on screen there, where they're just kind of talking through each of the situations they've dealt with. I'd be interested to see feedback I might get from either player from the commentary. Yeah, look at Francis just having fun at the table right now. That's just great pool. New stream, first time ever done here. She's first one on the stream, and she's moving around having a beautifully great time. So power on the break there, I think, kind of died off a little bit. Didn't pot a ball. Looks like it left John Kim a safety opportunity. He could obviously still could push it. I think going for a safety here to work on table control early is his best choice, especially only being up one rack in a who can make less mistakes sort of match here, because I think that's kind of where this match is when you have two players, one 579 Fargo, one 580 Fargo. Anyway, you're close in Fargo's technically or just skill set, in general based on how you score them either way. It's a who makes more mistakes problem. Sometimes the mistakes are your shots are just a little too confident. Sometimes you don't get there. Sometimes it's just pool is hard, but it's always should be fun. And that's one of the things I love so much about what these two players are doing today. They're being distinguished, and the one thing you can tell for sure is they are having fun. So John Kim here, wondering about a safety. Well, I wonder if he's a nice little push off could tie it up, but depending on the type of player, the funny thing is when you're above the table, you can do more. because I'm wondering if he's got getting down here with that one ball. If that's what he's looking at, because that's what I'm seeing up top here. Is oh oh apparently potentially Francis says I know the best safety here, and she wants to assist in a safety. I mean, I don't know how much more distinguished we can get here, ladies and gentlemen. You've got the players sitting down assisting in the best safety. And that's good for both players, really, because it's going to give John Kim some knowledge, but also let her learn to deal with someone delivering an equal level of excellence. And that's powerful both directions. So, only say fantastic here. He's saying right into the seven, but it's still a good safety. It's better than probably what he would have gotten the other way too. So even if their discussion led to a different position of the balls, the shot lines still interacted in a very similar way to where maybe she can see the edge, but if she can't, we'll see what happens next. Could see the edge of it, comes across it, gets it back downhill, does leave a potential combo. Although the combo could go in, knowing that the one ball's not going to get stuck in traffic up there behind the 810, it's family members up there all hanging out. I don't know if you want to exactly go for that, but I think he's sort of willing to see what happens. No, he is not. He goes for the safety. Does not get it safe, though. Really potentially leaves something for Francis to get positive with here. He's just got to feed this ball forward enough. Take a couple of those shots now, like that one though. Francis just mechanics just really kind of dialed out some there. I think she might have moved a little bit, executing, finishing that. Not something that she needs to be told about or preached about because she knows all about it being at her skill level. But looks like that is what could have happened. Does he tie it up? John Kim trying to make life difficult. I think he did. They're not touching. Francis can get by it and get off the second round, spin it in. Does not impact the ball though, creates a foul. I don't have my foul counter going at the moment. I don't know if that's two for Francis, but could be. We'll see here. If John Kim's going for the two down to the left, or going big around, he might go big around. Let's see what he does. It's hard to tell sometimes with him because he does get a big stroke and then make it very tiny at the last moment. No, he was staying with a big stroke, thinking that he wanted something out of it there. Might have been conducive to go to the other edge of the ball and just keep it soft and let it drop in to shape the two down table. Maybe that's also just another pipe dream. All right, so Francis looking to Babe Ruth some balls in. Stays down well, strokes it well. That is an angle adjustment probably there, Francis. I don't see where you did too much wrong to your stroke or the shot. I think just hair on the inside edge. John Kim is still having trouble zones over it. No, that's a line. Well, both players now, even with the impact, still have trouble zones over here. Miss missed well to leave Francis a one ball something. She might have called it up to the corner. Thought maybe she might try to bank to the side pocket, adjacent to the angle. I don't think she was going for anything here. Looking at the rack, I wonder if why would you? I think the next few shots in this rack are kind of a gamble game. You can go for the safety and get ball in hand, but then you're just kind of going for the safety again. Or you could hero shot a little bit, see what happens, then go for a safety. John Kim drills it, hits it like it's big, and it gets all the way big. And now we might be at what I was talking about earlier, where you get up there, you hit it well, you bump into a ball for like your third outing at the table, John Kim, for watching this later. Bump into it, speed it backwards. That was good. If you left from that angle, though, Francis might have the opportunity to have a bank shot to the corner pocket here with this ball. No, it's either on the rail or close to the rail. Sometimes you can kill it and still get there. Can it be steep and kill? Doesn't matter. Not if you don't touch it. Alright, she hands it back to John. John has a fairly reasonable possibility to run this one out, though. Like his chances, if he just maintains staying probably a little under the angles here, actually. You can't get too proud with these angles or they will punish you. Got a little proud of that one too. That's kind of what I'm talking about there. Take a breath. Kind of keep looking at it here. See what we can produce. He's got a little better vision of the angle than we do here. Controls coming through. Hits it big, spins it a lot. Two angles. Gets there well enough though. Although we do kind of get stuck right here with the situation of to call that's nice, now do it again, because you gotta shoot that well again to get there. doesn't quite shoot well, but shoots good enough. This is where your ability as a strong player needs to show up and correct the angle to finish this rack out. 6 balls left on the table. Management control comes in. It does not make the ball, but misses. Potentially still well enough for Francis to make this ball. I think there's enough room. I think Francis needs to hit this a little thinner than she wants to. Potentially with a hair of inside. And then let it flow. She does not. She decides to safety. Safety well. So, what I spoke about like 2 racks ago was could be a defense win Super Bowl situation where John Kim's ball potting ability is shining out, and Francis is kind of 50-50 or better, but not quite 70%. And her defense though is like 80%. Francis's defensive shots have just been punishing. We get 2 schools of thought off of that too, because you get the players that are all about you hit the ball, and then we get the players that are all about table control. So you get 2 schools of perfection. You just get to admire them both if you are open minded and pay attention. Of both are admirable, and you can see the battle that happens between them here, where Francis having every bit of the ball potting technique and ability as John Kim is actually playing better safety and table control than John Kim is. It just hasn't quite showed up on the scoreboard positive consistently for her yet, but it could start to. But you're seeing just a little bit of touch and go for Francis on that mid rack shot. And I'm willing to speak because that's one of the I either do it well all the way, I miss halfway, or 3/4 of the way something just falls apart. But that's getting better and better at this game. You work on it every day. And I think that's just how every player develops and deals with the sport, is being competitive, consistent, correct. Nice way to shoot a shot to just get the bounce to be struggle-ish. That 7 might go by the 10. If it does, then, well, John Gibbs got a nice opportunity to use the entire table to shape the 8. If it doesn't go by the 10, then John Kim has a nice opportunity to safety here and sneak the cue ball probably up on the edge of the 10 ball into the 7 up table away from it, which it looks like what we're going to see happen. Safety attempt. Ooh. All right. So yeah, I'd really like to see Francis get out here. Certainly at her level, it's very manageable now in the wheelhouse. Just focus on potting the 7, taking the 8 shape. It's all good. Pot the 7. I think again, yeah, just the tightness of these corner pockets on this 9-foot table maybe playing to affect some, but I think there's a little bit of just mental versus focus, just not dialing in on making sure you pot the ball from Francis' side on those key shots that she's missed so far. John Kim here has the opportunity to focus this one up and do it well. It's going to probably naturally get good shape on the 8. He decides to go for the bank shot. I don't know if he's going for the 2-rail bank shot, but either way, I don't think we're right back at the opportunity here for Francis, which still goes to pot the ball. We know 1, 2 rails, whichever one you want to use to shape the eight's fine. Pot the ball. There we go. That's what she's looking for here. Come to the thicker side of the 8 ball. Pot it with a little draw. Maybe a little bit of bottom right. Yeah, a lot of bit of bottom right. Don't hit it as hard. Does that well. Watch the side pocket. Might just go forward with this now to keep the ball speed forward on the 9 ball. You start punching at it, the 9 ball wants to steer offline. So you might just go forward because you're taking the angle. I think indecision happened there of not letting yourself go all the way to deciding just to take the forward angle and pot the ball, maybe. Same thing here for John Kent now. He's going to cut this to the corner pocket, come off the rail, spin backwards to the outside right, potentially. No, going to go big 2 rails. Okay. Install it out. If you can do it one direction, you can do it the other direction. He did it the other direction. Doesn't mean one's worse than the other. It's all about what you like, what you feel. Can get kind of tough though when you stall that ball out the 2 rails he did there, but it's okay to do because no matter what, all of this is your shot window. I mean, you can actually make all of this also your shot window. So there's just so many shot windows doing it that way. The only big issue is sometimes if you hit it too soft, you end up here, and then if you hit it too much, you end up here, and those are bad places to be. Whereas the other one, sometimes you get a bigger shot window because you get all of this, but you still can overrun over to here. So horse apiece, I guess. So John Kim up here is raised to 7-5-3. A lot of really solid player interaction between this match. You can really respect that. Earlier in the match, there was even a point where Francis was giving John Kim a pointer of how to deliver an even better safety against her as a player as the table was laid out. It's a learning experience for anyone watching, technically, because we all get that lesson for free if we're watching. John Kim's break. He lacked a hair of speed, more power than he needed to get complete separation of the balls, but really got dialed in well with it. Potted 2 balls. He's got the 1 ball to the corner. I believe that's the 2 ball over by the 8. Over here, that's the situation he has to deal with. He looks at the 1 ball. If he has to go to the 3, it makes this table much better. He's still working on some ball color adjustments, pounds it in. I think he does get to go to the 3 here, so that would make, if that's true, this is the 4 ball. That makes this the 3. So he's got to really work to shape the 4 here. Might come higher and just come straight out the table. Yeah, that's what he's going to try and do to shape that. Really good job of keeping really steep and missing the 10 ball coming through for shape. If he has all of the backside of the ball here, he should be able to naturally shape the 5 ball. but he's got to have all of the back of the floor to do that. He can still make the four otherwise. It just makes his shape to get to the five a little more challenging. All right, so he did not have, I think, all of it that he wanted then. So it's going to be Francis, something very manageable here. We'll see the path she wants to choose to get to the outcome. Push through it big. She does, yeah, she pushes through it big well. This is a scratch. Questionable struggle shape. She might try to move the 10 around here just to make it harder to get shape on. Oh no, she goes for a bank shot. Doesn't make it. Makes a good hit though. Doesn't get ball in hand away. And unless that 5 ball can clear that 6, I believe it is, then yeah, no, it doesn't clear, I don't think, because John Kim will be shooting by now. She left John Kim unfavorable. Yeah, John goes into another safety goal situation. It's a nice kick shot here for Francis to go to work on. Francis is working to find a little better speed feel for the table because I think the angle she shot at it was nice. I think the speed needed a little more. Let's go. Says I wanted it tighter than that. Didn't get there. I think based on her body language, the angle to work on cutting is pretty natural. Yeah, she cuts that nicely, runs to the ball. The speed does help. I think she pops this on the side. After that, it's just make every shot. You can say you want to do 5 different things here, but the reality is if you just know what to do next, which as a developed 5E level player that she is, do it again. Just do it again and do it again. And that's what I think she's doing right here. And I like the cadence and the consistency she's using here. You might see a big thin 3 rail shot. You could see her kill it from one. I think you might see her kill it off one angle, come back across the table. Nope. Yeah, go big. Doesn't get 3 though. Gets no, not in the pocket. All right. So the one thing I saw there, and again, I have the overhead view, and that always is typically kind of a thing. And she's talking about there is when she comes into this, she catches too much downhill wind. I feel like. Whereas if it was a bit thinner, I think she wanted to get this way with it, which most of us that are pool players understand that very well. It's just unfortunate just to get it that way, but I think it's just a little bit of a adjustment at the table that kind of helped now put John Kim on the hill here. So it was race to 7 now. She needs 3 racks to catch up, 4 to win. But John just needs 1. I don't think we're seeing Francis's high percentage play here. I think it's probably her very strong mid-level play, her fun level play, and she's Yeah, doing great with it. There's nothing to say in any lower term than excellence. Just a little bit of things that just aren't just kind of stringing together well on her side of the ball or the field. Her her break really hasn't produced a massive amount of advantage in this match, so something to consider understanding your adjustments on. Because once you get to a certainly a higher 500 Fargo level and creeping up, the details matter. They always matter, but they get tighter and tighter. So France is looking at probably cutting this one to the corner pocket, I would presume. Its shape, I believe, on the two, that's the conundrum. This is one of the ones where it's not as it's harder to be about make the ball, and it's a little more in the mindset of play it well. Because if you make the ball, I think you fall outside the range of shape. But if you play it well, you do well with it. Whoa, ball, stop in front of the points because that always makes life harder for your opponent if you don't caught the ball. All right, so if John Kim has clearance now on the point, potentially can make the one. They're kind of discussing something about the play of what they've done or about to do. So John Kim either has a safe or a potable ball. Says the ball was potable, didn't get there. It gives Francis reasonable opportunity here to get into this rack. I do believe Francis is in the place to understand the shape and make the ball. Decides to not go after it. Leaves a safe. With the ball movements and the table layout, it does seem like a great place to challenge John Kim with. John Kim kind of powering, not quite getting the angle figured out on the one ball there. Causes the one ball to get outside the edge of the pocket, not go in. Francis discussing something with John about shooting. Big draw here. Maybe she was trying to just go for a nice big stun forward. I still like because where the five ball is, you kind of big draw that a little bit. I think it produces a higher percentage of outcome. But if I'm wrong, then we'll all figure it out together. See John's tip placement. All right, so John gonna go outside of this to try and shape for the three ball, I believe. Tips into it. John Kim safeties. Kicks in tough here. Maybe enough room for the jump shot. Nope. Going for the kick, 2 rail, throw it backwards. Doesn't quite get to the pocket. A lot of angles here in these matches in this table so far tonight. Kind of get it right, but then make it in struggle bus and figure your life back out to get back in the forward shape. So it has paid off in a viewership way where you do get to see some 580 level players struggle with some stuff because it becomes that low percentage tier of things that showcase the excellence it takes to be consistent at this game. I think John Kim would be drawing off this ball pretty heavy full, hair bottom right, shape the 5 ball. Wants to get the 5 ball so it likes to get to the 6. He does do that, but then it all moves around. I think there was some body English that kind of helped that shot not go in the pocket. And since I'm sitting over here in the commentary booth and not at the table, I do know that I can say I make that same mistake. So I know what that feels like. It doesn't feel great. Nice pot one to the side. Get good on the 5. Get good on the 5. All right. Gets great on the 5. Gets the draw back potentially a hair to shape the 6. Touch and go. No. Mm-mm. It's a tough way to go about it. And funny enough, this does not make this 6 ball just a gimme for John. He does have to get up and get the work right. All right, so John, yeah, gets into the 50-50 yard line of the 2 angles of the shot. He just has to pick one, make sure he gets all the way through it well so that he can shape the 7. Both shots have about the equal amount of force and spin to get there. He does it, does it. Oh, he hits it bad. The traffic gets a bounce, but he gets to keep going. But now he's stuck here doing, kind of a similar thing where he can go forward and cut the 9 thin, draw off of it, and make it pretty. Oh, look at that. On the hill, 2 shots away here for John Kim. Come inside spin. Does not. Uses just the table distance to let the ball drift out and slow down the shape. You'd sort of bought the ball. John Kim says I got it. A little bit of arm movement to say I did it well. I'd like to thank the players, Francis O, John Kim. Thank the sponsors, Salotto, EvoSports, EvoQs, Rhino Billiards, Alex Peggy Lane, Team Peggy Lane, and everything we did with it, Jim Apparel, Level Up Billiards, Jason Heacock and Aaron Nice. Doing it all so well over there. And I hope you all have a good night as we end this stream.